My name is Claire Sutton. I'm 34 years old. And 3 weeks ago, I watched my parents stand up in front of 30 of their closest friends and announce the most exciting news of the evening. A full family vacation to Hawaii, a week at a luxury resort in Maui, all expenses paid, a second celebration for their 40th wedding anniversary. The room erupted. People clinked glasses. My younger sister pressed both hands over her mouth and let out a sound somewhere between a shriek and a sob. I sat at the edge of the table and let myself feel something I hadn't felt in years: hope. Real, warm, embarrassing hope. The kind that makes your chest open up before your brain has a chance to protect you. I was already imagining it. Ocean air, no alarm clock, no one handing me a to-do list, a real vacation. My first in probably 4 years. Then I made the mistake of asking one question. What time does the flight leave? The table went quiet. Not the pleasant kind of quiet that follows a good announcement. The other kind. My father looked at me like I'd walked into the wrong room and hadn't realized it yet. My mother's smile didn't disappear, it just shifted, tightened, became something else entirely. And then my father said clearly in front of every single person at that table, "Claire, you won't need that information. You're not coming. Someone has to stay home and watch the children." 30 people heard that. 30 witnesses to the moment my family looked me in the eye and confirmed what they'd apparently decided a long time ago, that I was staff. Not family, staff. But here's what none of them knew. For 3 years, I'd been quietly building something, a secret, a life that had nothing to do with them. And standing in that dining room with 30 pairs of eyes sliding away from me in second-hand embarrassment, I decided that the time to use it had finally arrived. Before I tell you what happened next, if this story is hitting close to home, please take a second to like and subscribe. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. I read every single one. Now, to understand what I walked away from and why I waited so long to do it, I have to take you back to the beginning. The Sutton family *, we grew up in a tan brick colonial in the suburbs of Hartford, Connecticut. 3 bedrooms, a manicured yard, a neighborhood where everyone knew each other's business and half of them were quietly competing about it. The kind of house that looks like a Christmas card from the outside and feels like a performance on the inside. My father, Robert Sutton, spent 35 years as a regional sales director for a mid-size manufacturing company. He retired 4 years ago with a pension, a golf membership, and the bone-deep belief that his way of doing things was simply correct. My mother, Diane, had never held a paying job for more than a year, though she'd remind you that running a household was a full-time career if you said so much as hint otherwise. She chaired the church auxiliary board. She organized the neighborhood holiday drive. She maintained what she called the family's standing with the focused intensity of someone who believed reputation was a currency you could actually spend. Then there was my sister, Leanne. Leanne is 3 years younger than me. She married a man named Brad Kessler, a corporate litigator who drove a BMW he'd somehow convinced himself he needed. They had 2 children, a 7-year-old named Theo and a 4-year-old named Isla, and a gorgeous house in a suburb 20 minutes from our parents. Leanne had stopped working after Theo was born. She had a part-time nanny, a cleaning service that came twice a month, and a social calendar that somehow still left her chronically exhausted. And then there was me. I work as a freelance bookkeeper, mostly remote. A few small business clients, a couple of nonprofits, flexible hours, modest income. Nothing that earns you a standing ovation at a family dinner. Nothing that gets introduced at a party. I drove a 10-year-old Toyota Corolla. I rented a small apartment 40 minutes from my parents. And I had been, for as long as I could remember, the one who helped out, not the daughter. The one who helped out. The distinction matters more than I can explain. What helping out actually looked like Thanksgiving meant I arrived at 7 in the morning to start the turkey and stayed until midnight to finish the dishes. Leanne arrived at noon in a new sweater, kissed everyone hello, and sat down to be served. Christmas meant I spent 2 days before the holiday wrapping presents my mother had bought, decorating the house according to her specifications, and coordinating the timing of 6 different side dishes. My mother's hands hurt in winter, arthritis, she said, though it never seemed to affect her ability to play cards on Thursday afternoons. My niece and nephew's birthday parties were mine to run. The entertainment, the setup, the cleanup, the snacks remembered in the right shapes for a child who'd suddenly decided he only liked dinosaur-shaped things. Last spring, I ran Theo's entire birthday party for 8 hours, while Leanne got a massage because she'd been so stressed. When I once told my mother I had a client deadline and couldn't make it to Sunday dinner, her voice went completely flat. Family is not optional, Claire. We all make sacrifices. Except I was the only one at the table who ever seemed to be making any. There was a moment I still think about. A random Wednesday evening, standing at my mother's kitchen sink, scrubbing a cast iron pan after another dinner I'd cooked for a table that didn't thank me. I paused mid-scrub and realized I couldn't remember the last time anyone in my family had invited me somewhere without needing something from me first. Not once. The thing that started it all * 3 years ago, my life came apart in the quiet way things do, not with a crash, but with a gentle, devastating conversation. I had been with a man named Patrick for almost 5 years. We had talked about the future the way people do when they mean it. Then one evening, he sat across from me at our kitchen table and said something I have never entirely stopped hearing. "I love you, Claire, I do, but I feel like I'm alone even when we're together. You're always just there, present but somewhere else, like you're waiting for something that never comes." He left. I didn't fight it. Looking back, I'm not sure I had the energy to fight anything. A few weeks later, I wandered into a second-hand shop downtown. I'm not sure what I was looking for. Something to hold, maybe. Something that was just mine. Near the back, behind a glass case, I found a used Nikon camera. Solid, clean, in better shape than anything around it. The tag said $165. I bought it with money I probably should have put toward rent. I told no one. I started photographing things that most people walked past without registering. An old man feeding pigeons outside a bus terminal. A teenage girl reading alone on a park bench, earbuds in, entirely unreachable. The face of a grocery store cashier at the end of a long shift, the exact weight of exhaustion, the precise moment before the mask goes back up. I called the series * Unseen *. I created an anonymous account on Instagram. No name, no face, no explanation. Just the photographs. Over 3 years, I built an audience of nearly 15,000 people. People who noticed what I noticed. People who understood the grammar of being overlooked. I kept the camera wrapped in an old flannel shirt at the back of my closet. It was the only thing in my life that was entirely, completely mine. The email * 8 weeks before my parents' anniversary party, an email arrived that I almost didn't open. It was from a gallery in Carmel by the Sea, California, the Meridian Gallery. The subject line read, "Your work potential exhibition inquiry." The sender's name was Daniel Park. I read it standing in my kitchen at 7 in the morning with a coffee going cold beside me. Then I read it again. Daniel had been following my account for over a year. He was interested, he said, in discussing a solo show. He believed the * Unseen * series had something rare. I stared at that email for 20 minutes. My hands were trembling by the time I put my phone down, but I didn't reply, not immediately. Because I was Claire Sutton and good things, the kind that changed trajectories, didn't happen to people like me, or so I'd been taught to believe. There is one person in my family who has always seen clearly. Her name is Aunt Vera, and she is my mother's younger sister. My mother calls her the cautionary tale of the family. Vera never married. She studied ceramics instead of something practical. She moved to Northern California 20 years ago to open a small cafe and pottery studio in a little coastal town. My mother has not forgiven her for it. She threw away everything she had, my mother would say, with genuine sorrow, the way people talk about someone who drowned. She could have had a real life. I have been calling Aunt Vera every Sunday evening for 6 years. My mother doesn't know. It was Vera who first saw my photographs. I'd sent her one, testing the water, a single image, no explanation. Her reply came within an hour. "Claire, this is extraordinary. You have something real here. Please don't hide it." Nobody in my family had ever used that word about me. Extraordinary. She was the one who kept encouraging me to post, to keep shooting, to stop apologizing for taking up creative space. And she was the one who, 6 weeks before my parents' anniversary dinner, said something that changed everything. "I hope you don't mind, but I sent your link to someone, a gallery owner I know in my area. His name is Daniel Park." My heart stopped. "Vera, that's the gallery that emailed me." "I know," a smile in her voice. "He wants to talk about a solo show, sweetheart. He's serious. This is real." A long silence, me pressing one hand flat against the kitchen counter just to feel something solid. "I don't know if I'm ready." "You've been ready for 3 years, you just haven't given yourself permission yet." She paused. You don't need anyone's permission. That's what took me 30 years to learn. Don't wait as long as I did. That night, I replied to Daniel Park's email. The anniversary dinner, my parents' 40th anniversary celebration, required 1 week of my time to prepare. I coordinated with a caterer, hand-addressed 60 envelopes, arranged the florals according to my mother's very specific vision: ivory garden roses, no carnations, never carnations, pressed the tablecloths, polished the silver, organized the seating chart through 3 revisions. On the day of the party, I arrived at 6:30 in the morning in jeans and a t-shirt, because there was no point dressing up when I'd be in service mode for the next 11 hours. By 6 in the evening, the house looked like something from a magazine, candlelight on every surface, the dining table set for 30 with my mother's finest china, flowers in every corner. I changed into a plain black dress in my old childhood bathroom, nothing special, nothing that would draw eyes. My mother caught me in the hallway on my way to answer the door. She looked me up and down the way she always did, a quick, efficient assessment. "Is that what you're wearing? It's appropriate, I think." "It's fine." She turned away. "Just stay out of the way tonight. This evening is about your father and me." I nodded. I always nodded. Guests began arriving at 7. Church friends, old colleagues, neighbors, people who believed they knew the Sutton family. Leanne arrived at 7:15, perfectly timed as always for maximum effect. She swept through the front door in an emerald-wrapped dress, her husband Brad just behind her in a well-cut suit, their 2 children dressed like they'd been styled for a catalog. My mother rushed to her. "Everyone, this is my daughter Leanne and her husband Brad. Brad just made senior partner at his firm last year. We're so proud of him. And these 2 beautiful children." Applause, warmth, the full beam of family approval. My mother did not mention that I had spent 3 days preparing the room they were all standing in. I circulated with appetizers, refilled glasses, answered questions from guests who didn't recognize me. One woman reached for a bruschetta and smiled at me pleasantly. "Are you with the catering team?" Before I could answer, my mother appeared at my elbow. "Oh, that's Claire, my other daughter. She's just helping out tonight." The woman nodded politely and turned away. My mother didn't notice. She never noticed. At some point, Brad appeared beside me holding Isla in one arm and Theo tugging at his jacket. "Hey, can you take them? We need to be out there." Not asterisk, would you mind? Not thank you. Just take them. I took them. I fed them dinner in the kitchen. I read Theo 3 stories to keep him from running into the living room. I cleaned the juice off Isla's dress before it set in. By the time I emerged, dessert was being served. I had not eaten anything since 6 that morning. No one had thought to set aside a plate. The announcement came just after 9 o'clock. My father stood, tapped his champagne glass. The room fell still. He spoke warmly, the way he always did in front of audiences, rehearsed charm dressed up as spontaneity. 40 years. 4 decades of building this family, this home, this life. My mother beamed beside him. Leanne reached for Brad's hand. I stood near the kitchen doorway, still holding a dirty dessert plate. "And to mark this milestone properly," my father continued, "we have a surprise." He paused. My mother's eyes sparkled. "Next week, we're taking the whole family to Hawaii, 1 week at the 4 Seasons in Maui. A second celebration, just the Suttons." The room murmured with delight. "What a wonderful thing. What a generous gift. You 2 deserve it." Leanne made a sound like she might actually cry. And I felt something lift in my chest, real, fragile, dangerously hopeful. The whole family, that included me. For once, I would be included. No cooking, no coordinating, no babysitting, just included. I stepped forward. "That sounds incredible." I heard the lightness in my own voice and didn't stop it. "What time is the flight?" The question landed. And then it just hung there. My father's expression shifted. He glanced at my mother. Something passed between them that I recognized, though I'd never understood it until that exact moment. The quick, calibrated look of 2 people who had already decided something and weren't expecting to have to explain it. "Claire," my father said slowly, "you won't need to know the flight time." The room went quiet, not the comfortable kind. "I'm sorry," he cleared his throat, "because you're not coming." 30 people, 30 witnesses. 30 people watching my father confirm, in public and without hesitation, that the family vacation did not include me. "Someone needs to stay with the children," my mother added, as if this were simply logistics, as if it were obvious. "Leanne and Brad need a proper vacation," my father continued. "That means you'll watch Theo and Isla." "But honestly, Claire," my mother's voice tightened, "you don't have anything pressing. Leanne works hard. She deserves a break." "Leanne works hard." Leanne, who had not been employed in 7 years. Leanne, who had a part-time nanny and still described herself as overwhelmed. "It's just a week," Brad said, not quite looking at me. "The kids love you." I stood in my plain black dress in the dining room I had spent a week preparing, holding a dirty plate while 30 people looked at me and then looked away. I heard a woman near the back lean toward her husband and murmur something. He nodded quietly. I caught 2 words, "Poor thing." The champagne glass in my hand felt suddenly dangerous. I set it and the plate down carefully on the sideboard. I could feel my own heartbeat. "Of course," I said. My voice was even, practiced. "I understand completely." I smiled the smile I had been perfecting for 34 years. And then I went to the kitchen, leaned against the counter with my eyes closed, and began, for the first time in my life, making a completely different kind of plan. What I found the party continued without me. Naturally, I stayed in the kitchen, mechanically washing dishes, while laughter drifted in from the dining room. Leanne appeared eventually, the green dress catching the light, her voice airy and apologetic in the way that isn't really apologetic. "Claire, please don't be upset. You know how it is. Brad and I genuinely need this. It's been such a hard year." I kept washing. "I know, and honestly, you're so natural with the kids. Theo asks for you more than he asks for me some weeks." She said this like it was a compliment. I set a glass in the drying rack, said nothing. She sighed the long-suffering sigh of someone who believes they're being reasonable and is frustrated that I can't see it. "Look, it's just a week, and you don't have any big commitments right now. Your schedule is flexible." Flexible, that word. As if flexible meant worthless. As if my time had no value because I was the one who controlled it. "Brad made a list," she continued, already scrolling on her phone. "Their schedules, dietary stuff. Isla can't have tree nuts. Theo's been having some trouble sleeping. He might need melatonin gummies. I'll text you the brand. There's also a thing with his." She was still talking when Brad appeared in the doorway, loosening his tie. "All sorted." "Yep." Leanne smiled up at him. "We're heading out early tomorrow to start packing. Mom wants family photos before everyone leaves." They were gone before the sentence was finished. They hadn't asked. They'd never asked. They'd simply assumed, as they always had, that my time was theirs to allocate. I stood alone in my mother's kitchen staring at the list: Theo's dietary restrictions, Isla's nap schedule, the name of the pediatrician, and a single thought rose to the surface with absolute clarity. They don't think of me as family. They think of me as a service. And services can be discontinued. It was almost midnight when I found the emails. The last guests had gone. My parents were in bed. I was in the living room folding tablecloths when I remembered I needed to send a file to a client whose deadline I had pushed back for this party. My laptop was at my apartment. My mother's was sitting open on the kitchen counter. She had borrowed my things without asking for 30 years. Surely she wouldn't mind. I opened the laptop. Her email was already loaded in the browser. I was about to navigate away when I saw my name in the subject line of a recent thread. "Ray, Hawaii, the Claire situation." I should have closed the laptop. I knew with complete certainty that whatever I was about to read would hurt. I read it anyway. The thread was between my mother and Leanne, beginning about 10 days before the anniversary party. My mother's message: "Keep Claire here for the children. She doesn't have anything real going on anyway." Brad was right. It's like having free help available. She should honestly be grateful we find ways to include her. Leanne's reply: "Totally. She'll feel useful, which is good for her. It's a little sad, honestly, but it works out well for us." I read it 3 times. Free help. She should be grateful, a little sad. I took screenshots. I forwarded them to my own email. Then I deleted the forwarded message from the sent folder, cleared the browser history, and closed the laptop. I drove home at 1 a.m. through empty streets. My apartment's small, second-hand furniture carpet that had been beige for too long had never felt more like mine than it did that night. I sat in the dark for a long time. On my phone screen, Daniel Park's last email glowed. "Whenever you're ready to meet, I'm here. I think this work deserves to be seen." I could go. I could actually genuinely go. I called Aunt Vera. She picked up on the second ring even though it was past midnight. "Claire, what happened?" I told her everything. The announcement. My father's words in front of the whole room. The email. What they had written about me. My voice cracked once, reading the phrase "free help" asterisk out loud. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then Vera said, "I have a room above the cafe. The morning shift starts at 6 and I need someone reliable. And that gallery, Daniel's gallery, is 12 minutes from here." "Vera, I can't just..." "You can, you absolutely can." The only thing stopping you is the story they've been telling you about yourself for 30 years. And sweetheart, that was never your story. I hung up at 2 in the morning. By 5, I had started to pack. The Departure 3 suitcases, my camera equipment, my editing laptop, the flannel shirt I'd used to wrap the Nikon for 3 years. I left behind the world's greatest aunt, Mug Leanne had given me 2 Christmases ago, filled with the irony of a gift I'd clearly been expected to use while doing their dishes. 2 days before the Hawaii trip, I drove to my parents' house one final time. My mother was in the living room sorting through resort outfits. Leanne sat on the sofa scrolling through photos of the hotel room she'd requested. Brad was somewhere upstairs. My father was in his armchair with a section of newspaper present as furniture. "I need to tell you all something," I said from the doorway. My mother barely glanced up. "If it's about the children's schedule, Leanne already sent everything." "It isn't about the schedule," I steadied myself. "I won't be watching the children next week. I'm not available." The room changed. Leanne's head came up. My mother's hands went still over a pile of folded linen. "What do you mean, not available?" My mother's voice was careful, deliberate. "I have a professional opportunity in California. I'm leaving tomorrow morning." "California?" My father lowered the newspaper. "What kind of opportunity?" "An important one, something I've been working toward for a long time." I didn't elaborate. They hadn't earned the details. Leanne set her phone down. "Claire, you can't be serious. I'm counting on you. We all planned around this." "You planned around me without asking me," I said quietly. "I'm not canceling my life because you assumed I didn't have one." The silence that followed was the kind that fills a room completely. My mother stood. When she spoke, her voice had the precise, measured coldness of someone who has never not gotten their way. "This is profoundly selfish, Claire. Your sister needs you. Family. Family comes first," I said. "Yes, I've heard that. Except when it comes to being invited on the family vacation, apparently. So tell me, which one is it?" "Am I family or aren't I?" My mother's mouth opened, closed. For a moment, just a moment, Patricia Sutton had nothing to say. My father cleared his throat. "If you walk out that door, don't expect us to throw a welcome party when you come back." "I understand," I said, and I meant it fully for the first time. The pressure campaign the next 24 hours were a master class in emotional leverage. My mother called 7 times, each voicemail slightly more devastated than the last. "You are tearing this family apart, Claire Ann, and I hope you understand what that means. Your father didn't sleep, I hope you know that. Leanne was up half the night crying. The children keep asking where you are." Leanne's approach was different. She knew which threads to pull. "I don't understand why you're doing this to me. We're sisters. Doesn't that mean anything anymore?" Then, late that evening, a text that made me sit down. "You're going to end up completely alone, just like Aunt Vera." Is that what you want? To be a cautionary tale? I stared at those words for a long time, just like Aunt Vera. They meant it as a warning, as something to fear. But Aunt Vera had her own business, her own art, her own life built entirely on her own terms. She woke up every morning and did work she chose. She was, as far as I could tell, genuinely, sustainably happy. If that was the threat, it was the least frightening one they'd ever made. I turned off my phone. The next morning, at 5:45, I loaded 3 suitcases into my 10-year-old Corolla while the neighborhood was still dark. The same car my mother had been embarrassed by for years. The car that was about to carry me somewhere entirely new. I didn't look back when I pulled away from the curb. The drive from Hartford to Carmel by the Sea takes roughly 4.5 days if you take your time, and I took my time. I stopped at motels along the way. I ate at diners where no one knew my name or what I owed anyone. Somewhere in Ohio, I photographed a grain elevator at golden hour and cried a little in the car, though I couldn't have told you exactly why. Somewhere in Nevada, Leanne sent a text I caught while checking directions. "Mom says if you're not back by the time we return from Hawaii, you're as good as dead to her." I read it once, deleted it, kept driving. On the 4th day, I called Vera from a rest stop in Northern California. "About 6 hours out," I said. "Your room is ready, fresh sheets, a desk, a window that looks straight at the water, and Daniel wants to know if tomorrow afternoon works for you." My stomach flipped. "Tomorrow's so soon." "Claire." Her voice was certain the way warm things are certain. "You have been ready for 3 years. Tomorrow isn't soon. Tomorrow is asterisk, finally asterisk." And I crossed into Monterey County, and the Pacific appeared on my left, vast and gray-blue and without end. I rolled down the window and let the salt air hit me. I cried again, but this time from something that felt like relief, like the first deep breath after holding it for a very long time. I pulled into the driveway of the Copper Wheel, Aunt Vera's cafe and pottery studio in Carmel by the Sea, at 7 in the evening on my 5th day of driving. Vera was on the porch. She opened her arms. "Welcome home," she said. For the first time in 34 years, somewhere actually felt like it. Carmel by the Sea *, the town didn't feel real at first. Storybook rooftops, cypress trees with branches shaped by ocean wind, art galleries tucked between bakeries. The whole place had the quality of a beautiful dream someone had successfully committed to paper. The Copper Wheel occupied the corner of a quiet street 2 blocks from the beach. Blue shutters, a hand-painted sign. Window boxes full of lavender. The pottery studio ran along the back half of the building where Vera taught classes on weekends and sold her work to anyone who wandered in. My room was upstairs, small but flooded with light. A white quilt on the bed, a wide desk facing the window, and a view of the water that made something in my chest ache in a way I couldn't name. "Morning shift is 6 to noon, Vera told me over dinner. "After that, your time is completely your own." "I don't know how to thank you for this." She shook her head. "Don't thank me, just build something, that's all I want." The next morning I was up before 5. I tied on a canvas apron, just a simple one, embroidered with the cafe name in blue thread, nothing that would remind me of anything, and learned how to use Vera's pour-over station. Customers arrived in a steady, gentle stream, locals who knew Vera by name. Tourists drawn in by the smell of coffee and the stoneware mugs visible through the window. I took orders, learned the regulars' preferences, chatted with strangers who had no idea I'd driven 4 days to get there. By noon, I had made $41 in tips and smiled more than I had in months. At 2 o'clock, I walked 3 blocks to the Meridian Gallery. Daniel Park *, I had imagined someone imposing. Someone who wore their authority visibly, who made you feel like an applicant the moment you walked in. Daniel Park was in his 50s, with silver-streaked hair and the unhurried manner of someone who had long ago stopped performing confidence and simply had it. He wore a linen shirt with the sleeves pushed up, and he greeted me at the gallery entrance with a handshake and the kind of smile that doesn't make you prove yourself first. "Claire Sutton," he said warmly. "Vera has said wonderful things, but honestly the work says everything on its own." He walked me through the gallery. White walls, generous natural light, photographs and paintings installed with careful intention. It was a serious space. The kind of space where things meant something. "I've spent a lot of time with your Unseen series," Daniel said as we stopped in front of a large monitor displaying my portfolio. "There's an honesty in these images, a refusal to look away that most photographers spend entire careers reaching for." He stopped in front of one specific photograph. A woman in her 70s sitting alone at a bus stop, a canvas bag in her lap, her face carrying all the quiet weight of someone who has been patient for a very long time. This was the image that made me reach out. "What was happening when you took it?" "She'd been waiting 40 minutes, I said quietly. "Her bus was late." People walked past her like she was furniture. She never looked frustrated. She just waited like she'd learned not to expect anything different. Daniel was quiet for a moment. "You see people," he said finally. "Not the story they tell about themselves, the thing underneath it, that's extraordinarily rare." He turned to face me directly. "I'd like to offer you a solo exhibition, 15 prints, opening in 6 weeks. The gallery covers all production costs, printing, framing, installation, marketing. You retain 60% of all sales." The contract *, I signed it on a Tuesday. Sitting at Daniel's desk with afternoon light coming through the gallery windows, my hands trembling enough that I had to put my pen down twice to collect myself. It wasn't the business terms. The terms were fair, exactly as he described. It was seeing my own name printed in a legal document under the heading *artist. Artist. Claire Sutton. I thought of every family dinner where no one had asked what I was working on. Every holiday where my contribution was absorbed invisibly into the finished product. Every time I had been thanked for being helpful, as if helpfulness were a character trait rather than a choice, I kept making at my own expense. None of those moments had produced a single document with my name at the top. This one did. "The exhibition title," Daniel said, pointing to a line near the end. "We'd like your approval. We're proposing Unseen Portraits of the Overlooked." I looked at those words for a long moment. "It's exactly right," I said. I signed on the line. He countersigned. His assistant notarized the pages with a satisfying official stamp. When it was done, Daniel slid my copy across the desk. Congratulations. You're a represented artist. I walked out of the Meridian Gallery holding that contract against my chest. The afternoon air smelled like salt and eucalyptus. I sat on a bench at the end of the street and looked out at the water for a long time. Physical proof that I had built something, that it had value, and always had. I photographed the contract, not to post anywhere, just to remember. Opening night ***, 6 weeks later, I stood in the center of the Meridian Gallery and could not quite convince myself it was real. 15 of my photographs filled the walls, each one printed large, framed simply, lit with precision. The space held them beautifully. A small string quartet played near the back window. A bartender in a white shirt circulated with champagne. 50 guests moved through the room with the careful attention of people encountering something that mattered. Collectors. Local artists I'd met through Vera over the preceding weeks. A journalist from a regional arts magazine. A couple who'd driven up from Santa Cruz specifically because they'd seen a preview image shared online. People who came because they wanted to see what I'd made. I wore a deep blue dress, simple, clean lines, and my hair down for the first time in months. I had put on lipstick. I stood in the middle of everything and felt something I had no word for, a kind of uprightness, a sense of occupying space without apology. Vera appeared at my side with a glass of champagne. "How are you feeling?" "Like I might need to sit down," I admitted. "What if nothing sells? Something already has." She tilted her head toward the far wall. A woman in her 60s stood in front of the bus stop photograph, the centerpiece of the exhibition, the image that had started everything. Beside the placard, a small red dot had appeared. "That's Alina Marsh," Vera said quietly. "She owns significant pieces in 4 galleries between here and San Francisco. She just purchased that print for $3,000. $3,000. For a photograph I had taken with a used camera I'd bought from a pawn shop. Before I could fully process that, Daniel appeared at my elbow. "Claire, I'd like to introduce you to someone." He gestured toward the journalist. "She's considering this for next month's cover feature." A cover feature. My face, my name, my story. I was mid-handshake when the gallery door opened, and my world tilted. The arrivals my sister walked in first. Leanne, still carrying the last traces of a Hawaii tan, wearing a floral dress that looked perfectly suited to a beachside brunch and less suited to an art opening. Brad was just behind her, frowning at his phone with the expression of a man who believes that visible busyness confers status. They stood just inside the door, scanning the room with the particular look my family wore when encountering something outside their expected parameters. Not hostility exactly, but a kind of baffled recalibration. Then Leanne saw me. "Claire!" She rushed forward with her arms outstretched, as if we were completing a reunion she had been anxiously awaiting. "Oh, thank God, we've been so worried. We came as soon as we could. We flew in yesterday." "Leanne," I kept my voice measured. "This is unexpected. Mom found your Instagram. She's been calling everyone." Her eyes moved across the gallery walls, taking in the photographs, the price tags, the guests with visible confusion. "She tracked Daniel's gallery through your account." Brad appeared behind her. He looked at me with the expression of a man who has been inconvenienced and would like that acknowledged. "Nice place, Sutton." "It's my gallery opening," I said. "My solo exhibition." Leanne blinked. "You did all of this. When did you? You never said anything about this. You never asked what I did with my time." Vera had materialized at my shoulder. Across the room, Daniel watched the scene with quiet attention. Leanne leaned in, dropping her voice by a degree. "Claire, listen, I have news. We're expecting again, number 3. A small, hopeful smile. "And I really, genuinely need you. Brad's work is insane right now, and Mom is, you know how Mom is with the kids. I need you to come home." There it was. Not congratulations on the exhibition, not an apology, not a single acknowledgement of the room we were standing in. Just "I need you." The same 2 words, the same weight, the same assumption that my presence was a resource she was entitled to draw from. "Leanne," I said quietly, "I'm in the middle of my opening." I know. She glanced at my work on the walls with the kind of smile that means someone is trying to be supportive without understanding what they're looking at. "And this is really lovely, genuinely, but we can talk about all this later. I just need to know, when are you coming back?" "She isn't." Vera's voice, calm and final, cut directly through the ambient noise of the gallery. "She lives here now." Brad stepped forward, irritation surfacing through the professional veneer. "With all due respect, Vera, this is a family matter." "Family matter." Alina Marsh, who had been examining a second photograph nearby with quiet interest, turned around. She had the specific unhurriedness of someone who does not feel any pressure to soften what she's about to say. "Forgive me. Am I understanding correctly that this young woman's family arranged her babysitting duties without consulting her, excluded her from a family vacation, and then showed up at her opening night not to celebrate her, but to ask her to come back and help them?" Brad turned toward her with the expression of a man who expected to control the conversation and has just realized he will not. "I'm sorry, and you are?" "Someone who just purchased one of those photographs for $3,000. Alina picked up her champagne calmly. "Someone with a great deal of curiosity about why the people who should be most proud of this artist seem to be the ones most interested in ending her evening." A murmur rippled through the gallery. No one was pretending not to listen anymore. Leanne's face had gone pale. She turned to me, her voice dropping into a register I recognized from childhood, the genuinely distressed one, beneath the performance. "Can we please talk somewhere private? I'm not trying to make a scene." What I said asterisk, I didn't move toward the corner she was gesturing toward. For 34 years, I had made myself smaller to make other people more comfortable. I had lowered my voice, reduced my needs, apologized for my presence. I had done it so consistently that I had nearly convinced myself it was simply who I was. I stepped forward instead, into the center of the gallery, into the warm light that fell across my own photographs, and I spoke clearly enough for everyone present to hear. "Leanne, I'm genuinely glad you're pregnant. I mean that. Congratulations." I waited a beat. "But I will not be returning to Boston to be your childcare. Not this month, not next year." "Claire, you have options. You can hire a nanny, a real one, a paid one. Brad's firm is more than capable of supporting that. What you cannot do is hire me because I was never paid. I was never even asked. I was simply assumed to be available." I turned slightly, not performing it, just making sure the room understood what I was saying. "This is not a hobby." I gestured at the walls around me. "I have been building this for 3 years. While every person in our family assumed I had nothing important to do, I was doing this." That photograph, I pointed to the bus stop image Alina had purchased, sold tonight for $3,000. "By the end of this evening, I will have sold more than $15,000 worth of work. My work has value, I have value, and I will not return to a life that required me to be invisible in order to be tolerated." The gallery was silent. Then Daniel began to clap. Vera joined him. Alina Marsh raised her champagne glass. One by one, the other guests followed, and the applause moved through the room warmly, not for drama, not for conflict, but for something that felt to everyone in that room, I think, like watching someone finally say the true thing. I did not smile triumphantly. I turned to my sister and said simply, "I hope your pregnancy is healthy. I hope your children grow up happy, but if you want a relationship with me, it has to be a different kind than the one we've had. Equal. Genuine." Leanne nodded. Tears on her face. I believed they were real ones. "I understand," she said. They left 20 minutes later. My parents, I was back in conversation with the magazine journalist, composing myself, finding my footing again when the gallery door opened a second time. My parents. My mother in her best coat, the camel-colored one she reserved for occasions that required her to be taken seriously. My father in a blazer, looking slightly displaced, the way he always did in rooms that didn't have a clear hierarchy. They found me immediately. My mother walked across the gallery with the assured stride of a woman who believes her arrival is always significant. "Claire." Her voice held the particular tone she'd used when I tracked mud on her clean floors at age 9. "We need to speak with you." I excused myself from the journalist and moved to intercept them before they could advance further. "You came all this way," I said. "Of course we came." My mother's composure was immaculate but thin. "You vanished, your sister is pregnant, your family needs you, and instead of being there, I find you here playing at being an artist," I said. "That's what I'm doing, not playing at it." "Wendy," she stopped, recalibrated. "Claire, don't be dramatic. 1 trip, 1 week of babysitting, and you upend everything." "1 trip," I looked at her steadily. "Mom, it wasn't 1 trip. It was 34 years of 1 trip, repeated in different forms. It was every Thanksgiving I cooked, every Christmas I wrapped, every birthday party I ran. Every time I asked to be treated like a person and was told family comes first, as though I was somehow not part of the family it was supposed to come first for." My father cleared his throat. "Wendy, Claire, I understand you feel hurt, but..." You told a room of 30 people that I wasn't welcome on the family vacation. In public, without any warning. I looked at him directly. So I'd like to ask you the same question I asked in that dining room. Am I family or am I not? Because you can't have it both ways. Neither of them answered. I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. I want to read you something. This is an email from your account, Mom, sent to Leanne about 10 days before the anniversary party. My mother's color changed. I read it, all of it. Free help. She should be grateful we give her something to do. A little sad, but it works out well for us. I read it steadily without drama. The room had gone still around us. I heard the journalist's pen moving. When I finished, I lowered the phone. I'm not reading that to embarrass you. I'm reading it because I needed you to understand why I left. You didn't see me as your daughter. You saw me as a resource. And resources, when they're human beings, have the right to stop being resourced. My mother's mouth opened and closed. Brad, who had apparently decided this was the moment for a corporate pivot, stepped forward. This is completely overblown. She babysits, we go on vacation. Suddenly it's a federal case. She sold $15,000 of art tonight. Alina Marsh's voice again, clear and composed. I don't believe this is about babysitting. Brad turned to her with the expression of a man who has just realized that the room is not on his side and is not sure when that happened. My mother tried one final approach, the voice she used when she needed to reestablish control by acting as though control had never been threatened. This is a misunderstanding, Claire. Family dynamics taken out of context. Everyone says things. A joke. A woman near the back, she'd bought a photograph earlier in the evening, the one of the grocery store cashier, spoke carefully. Telling your daughter she's free help, and that it's sad but convenient. I'm not sure what the punchline is. More murmurs. I watched my mother's social authority, the thing she had spent decades cultivating, the currency she genuinely believed was real, evaporate in real time in a room full of strangers who had just heard her own words read back to her. I think, Vera said, gently but without apology, it's time for you to go. My father took my mother's arm. She was flushed in a way I had never seen before, not angry, something worse than angry, exposed. She turned to me at the door. You will regret this, Claire. No, I said, I won't. She left. My father followed. The gallery door closed with a soft, definitive click. Leanne lingered another moment. Mascara blurred, arms wrapped around herself. I really didn't know you felt this way, she said. You didn't think about it, I said, not unkindly. None of you did, that's the whole point. She nodded. Brad steered her gently toward the exit. They went through the same door our parents had used. The gallery exhaled. Vera's arm came around my shoulders. You all right? I think so. I let out a shaky breath. I just confronted my entire family at my own art opening. You did, she squeezed once. And you were extraordinary. Daniel appeared with a fresh glass of champagne. In 20 years of running this gallery, I have never had an opening night quite like this. Is that good? I asked. He smiled. I'll say this, everyone in this room will remember your name, and that is exactly what an artist needs. The numbers by the time the gallery closed, I had sold 8 of 15 prints, 8 pieces, just over $14,000 in total sales. 60%, my share, came to $8,400. Daniel handed me the printed transaction summary as the last guest filed out. Not bad for an opening night, he said, even accounting for the theatrics. I looked at the numbers until they stopped feeling abstract. $8,400, more than I'd made in 3 months of bookkeeping. For work I had created alone, in secret, in the margins of a life that had been designed to leave me no margins. Mrs. Marsh wants to commission a new piece, Daniel added. She has a property on the Big Sur coast. She wants to see what you do with that kind of landscape. Her assistant's contact is on this card. He slid it across the desk. Call them next week. A commission. A collector commissioning a piece from me specifically. And the journalist, he continued. Susan said she has more than enough material for a feature. They're discussing whether to put you on the cover. The cover of an actual magazine. My name, my face, my story. I walked back to the cafe that evening carrying the transaction summary and 7 unsold photographs and my copy of the exhibition contract. Vera helped me carry everything upstairs. I set the check made out to Claire Sutton on my desk and photographed it with my phone. Payable to Claire Sutton. $8,400 from work I had made. Proof that I had built something, that I was someone who built things. The life that followed 2 months later, I had a routine. Up at 5. Sunrise over the Pacific from my window. The light always doing something different, and I always stopped to look. The copper wheel opened by 6, morning shift until noon, the quiet rhythm of coffee and conversation, and learning the names of people who were slowly becoming familiar. Afternoons in the small studio space, I'd rented 3 blocks from the cafe, just large enough for my editing setup and a printing station. Daniel had already scheduled a second show for late spring. I was building a new series. I called it Thresholds, photographs of edges and borders, the in-between spaces where one thing becomes another. Doorways, shorelines, the exact moment before a decision. It felt like the most honest work I had ever done. The magazine feature came out in October. My face on the cover of * Coastal Arts magazine beside the headline, The Artist Who Learned to See Herself. The article told my story with certain identifying details adjusted. The essential truth was there. Women wrote to me, dozens of them, then more. Women who were the reliable one, the responsible one, the one who showed up and was never thanked. Women who had built themselves small to avoid taking up too much space. Their messages came in every day like a tide. I thought I was the only one. You showed me it's possible to leave. Thank you for saying the true thing out loud. My family reached out eventually, each in their own way. Leanne texted after her daughter was born. She sent a photograph of the baby, Charlotte, a name I hadn't been consulted on. I sent congratulations and a thoughtful gift card, nothing further. My mother left a voicemail some months later asking if I'd gotten it out of my system. I listened to it once and did not call back. My father's message surprised me. It was an email, 3 sentences, no preamble, no explanation. Claire. I saw the magazine. I'm proud of you. That one I kept. Where I am now, I am sitting at my studio desk as I write this. The window is open. Outside, the Pacific is doing what it always does, moving, receding, returning, and the sound of it has become the background of my days in a way that still doesn't feel entirely real. My first camera, the used Nikon from the second-hand shop, the one I bought with money I should have saved, sits on the shelf to my left. Beside it is the newer model I purchased with money from my art. Both of them matter. One taught me to look. The other is proof that people looked back. My second exhibition opens next month. Thresholds, 15 new photographs. I believe it's the best work I've done. Vera stops by every morning with coffee and a running commentary on the weather, the customers, the state of the world. Daniel calls weekly with updates about collectors, opportunities, the specific business of being seen. The regulars at the cafe have started calling the corner table by the window the photographer's table, because that's where I sometimes edit between the morning rush and noon. I'm not wealthy. I'm not famous, but I am seen. I am doing work that is genuinely mine, and I have the life I should have been building 10 years ago if I had given myself permission. As for my family, we exist now in a new arrangement. Christmas cards, occasional updates about the children. Civil, distant, workable. I have not been back to Connecticut. Perhaps someday I will. But when I go, it will be as a visitor, a guest, not as the help. The other day I was going through an old hard drive and found a photograph I had taken 3 years ago in my apartment in Hartford. A self-portrait in the bathroom mirror. The woman in it looked exhausted, not dramatically, but in the deep, settled way of someone who has been tired for so long they no longer notice it. Waiting for permission to exist. Waiting for someone to say her name like it meant something. I looked at it for a long time. Then I deleted it. That woman is gone. In her place is someone who takes up space. Who says no and means it, and says yes only when she chooses. Who has learned that visibility is not something other people grant you. It's something you build quietly, over years, in the back of a closet with a camera you bought for yourself. That is what I want to leave you with if you've stayed with me this far. Not revenge, not triumph, not the satisfaction of people finally getting what they deserve. Just this, freedom. The kind that comes from choosing yourself once and discovering that the world does not end when you do. From a psychological perspective, what Claire experienced has a name. It's called the parentified child dynamic. When one person within a family system is quietly assigned the role of invisible caretaker, their needs chronically deprioritized, while another sibling occupies the position of the chosen one, the celebrated one, the one whose comfort is treated as a family project. People in this role often don't recognize it for years because they've been shaped from the inside out to accept it. They've been taught that their worth is conditional, earned through service, through usefulness, through never asking for too much. What Claire did, what all of us in that position eventually have to do, is not abandonment. It's not selfishness, though it will be called that. It's the recognition, often arriving very late and at great personal cost, that you cannot spend your entire life pouring into vessels that don't pour back. Your needs are not negotiable because someone decided they were. Your time is not available simply because someone assumed it was. Your worth is not a function of your usefulness to people who would not extend the same courtesy to you. Boundaries are not walls. They are the shape of a self. And sometimes the bravest, most radical, most necessary thing you can do is simply walk out the door and start building something that has your name on it. You deserve that. You always did. And it was never too late until you decided it was.